Hello, everybody! It's been forever. I've been submerged by work. So, hello from me and my 5 extra pounds on each cheek from Thanksgiving. It was good to rest and sleep and eat a lot among a lot of work, but I want to show you the cool stuff that the new generations of middle schoolers are using to learn. That is pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. So I'm going to turn my screen and show you pretty much they are learning with softwares that are worth of real scientists. Like, that's crazy. I've never learned this when I was in middle school. Everything that I teach right now, I'm learning at the same time because those programs are so well done to illustrate how molecules or light waves or energy works. So let me show you. Amplify Science. Okay, so I'm gonna go to Science Florida. And here you can see our program, Harnessing Human Energy, Thermal Energy, Light Waves and Traits and Reproduction. So right now we're at Unit 4. So let me start with Thermal Energy and the sim, the digital sim. So actually, you know what? I'm going to go straight to my apps and I could go straight to Thermal Energy sim. Okay, so let's imagine. So our goal was to identify how to choose a heating system, right? So how do molecules react with temperature? So these are molecules, okay? And then if I want, I can view the kinetic energy and view the energy transfer as well. So remember, kinetic energy is energy from motion. So anything that moves has energy. So if it has energy, you're able to harness it and store it in a battery, for example, or transfer and convert it into an object like a lamp. Okay, so it depends if you want to keep it to use it for later. You store it, it becomes potential energy. Or if you want to use it right away, then you convert it kinetic energy or into electrical energy or into light energy. Okay, you can convert energy. So now molecules are in constant motion. So because molecules are in motion, there is movement. So there is energy, right? And look, if I increase the temperature of the molecules, what happens? They move faster. And if let's add another sample. If I decrease the temperature, what happens? They move slower. Therefore, heat means more kinetic energy. That's why we use thermal energy, energy from heat. Okay, so this is what I want to use in my anti-gravity formula, right? By using heat and temperature, being able to control energy this way, right? To accelerate or to slow down the vessel by exerting more pressure or less pressure through the control of the temperature in the system. Okay, and now what happens when you bring those two systems together? So let's imagine it's a teacup with hot water and water that is ice cold tea from the fridge. Okay, when you put them together, energy will automatically want to transfer from hot to cold to reach an equilibrium. Okay, and it's going to stabilize when they both reach the same temperature. Okay, so you all know what happens when you bring hot water into cold water. Okay, they even out, they find an equilibrium. But you can also use this to heat a school or heat a home using a hot water system with the walls to heat up the air. Okay, and of course, what was interesting to study was that a smaller container, if it's hotter, doesn't mean that the smaller container has more energy, because if a container is bigger, the amount of molecules that it has and energy that it has will add up maybe more, it depends on the proportion, than a smaller tank. Okay, so that was interesting to do calculations to see if you have a smaller tank with higher temperature and a bigger tank with lower temperature, which one will actually heat up more and stuff like that. So of course these are proportions to calculate. You add up the amount of molecules and then you see. So the average kinetic energy, average temperature will give you the amount of temperature, yeah, and the average and the total kinetic energy will give you the amount of kinetic energy. Oh, I think I just messed it up. Whatever. That sounded messed up. Sorry, it's late. But anyways, next sim. Harnessing. No. Next sim, we're gonna do the Lightwaves. So hold on, I don't want to confuse. I posted a memo about it. So average kinetic energy means the average temperature, and total kinetic energy means the thermal energy. Yes. Okay, so where is the Lightwaves? Can you see it? Lightwaves. Oh yeah, it's right in front of my face. Okay. Whew, it's late. I've been working all week. Okay, look at this. This is pretty incredible. This is what the kids are learning with. So I have a light here that is sunlight. Okay, I want to see the effect of sunlight on a plant. What does it do? It reflects green light. It transmits apparently yellow light, and it absorbs the white light. Okay, so right now it's sunlight. We don't really know what part of the light is what is doing what. Okay, so only by analyzing, you're gonna go on custom, and now I can make my own wave. And I can make my own wave. You see, oh, hold on, first, look. I inspect, so what is the effect? There is a damage. No, wait. Too fast. Sun. What does it do? It damages, it does photosynthesis, and it warms them up. So we can already imagine there is at least 3 different types of light from the sunlight. One type of light that would damage the plant, one type of light that creates photosynthesis, and one type of light that creates the warmth. So what is the part? And the only way I can know is by being a scientist who wants to know every aspect of the thing and details. And now I can create my own wave. So that is so cool, because now look at what's happening right here. The type of light. They're going to tell you what type of light depending on the wavelength. So that thing right here, okay, the length between the top of 2 waves called the crest. Okay, the top of a wave is called the crest. So from a crest to the other is called the wavelength. The wavelength is what determines the type of light that you have. So the smaller the wavelength, the more dangerous the light. Imagine it's like a tattoo, little needles, tack, 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 tack. The more waves you have going through your skin, the more damaging it's gonna be. There's, okay? Well, if you have a larger wave, like an infrared light, okay? It's just one light going through, okay? It takes more time. So it's not as dangerous. And there is a reason why it's called gamma ray. It is the size, does it tell you? It's the size of an atomic nucleus, nuclear energy. Okay, that's where it comes from, because the size of the wavelength, the size of the wave is as small as the nucleus of an atom. Okay, atomic bomb, nuclear energy, all this is this type of waves that are very damaging for the skin. And then you have X-ray, a UV light that is the size of a virus, okay? So the X-ray is what you use to see through your body, okay? So it's by reverberations, right? It's how you have like something behind you and the light goes through you, and depending on the information that reaches the other side, then they know exactly what is in your body, because some of the lights stop at some point, okay, because they absorb in your body. This is why X-rays are dangerous, because some transmit and some part is also absorbed, okay, in your body. So when it absorbed is when it creates damage. When it just transmits, there's no effect. Okay, and how do I know that? Is by using that sim. So now I have my green light. So you know that all the visible light, all the visible spectrum is all the colors. Okay, so this is all the visible spectrum. So let's take the green light, confirm. The size of a small bacterial cell. What does it do? It reflects. The only light from the color spectrum that is not absorbed by the plant is the green light, which reflects. And what does it do? Nothing. It doesn't affect the plant. Okay, it just reflects on it. Now, if I do any other color from the color spectrum, let's try blue. What does it do? It absorbs and creates the photosynthesis. Okay, so the other colors from the visible light from the color spectrum, notably the blue and red light, are absorbed, and this is what's responsible for the photosynthesis. And the green doesn't do anything, it reflects on it. This is why plants appear green, because it reflects on your eye. Now, so what is the part that damages the plant? It is, I'm going to go straight to what I know because I've already tasted all of these modes. The UV light is the one that damages the plant. So now when you think about the skin, you can say, okay, the part from the sunlight that affects the skin and can be dangerous to the skin is the UV light. Okay? And now let's see the bigger ones. So here you have all the types of lights. So gamma ray, X-ray, ultraviolet, these are the dangerous ones. Then you have all the color spectrum that most likely has no effect on the skin. And then you have infrared, microwave, and radio waves that the size of a bridge. Imagine, so these are most likely waves that are passing through our atmosphere or at the surface of the Earth or on the ozone. I'm not too sure. Radio waves, yeah, they're all around us, those waves. Okay, but they don't affect us. Let's see if they have an effect on the plant. It transmits, no change. It doesn't do anything. Now, let's look at a solar panel, for example. What does it do with a solar panel? Nothing. So, radio waves. So, what kind of waves do we need for a solar panel? It's probably going to be those visible light. Let's see. Increased electrical energy. Before and after. You see how cool that program is? That's crazy, man. Like, now look at this. We were studying skin cancer. So let's do with the sunlight. Okay? So now that you've seen the detail of all the lights and the types of lights, the skin is damaged. You see the DNA gets broken by the sunlight. Okay, it also increases the kinetic energy. That's why you get this vitamin E or vitamin D. I don't know, when you're getting the sun, you feel good, but it's also bad for your skin. However, now if I put the melanin in between my DNA, melanin, which is this substance that we have in our cells, in our skin, that gives us our skin color. So the darker your skin, the more melanin you have, and the whiter your skin, the less melanin you have. So what does the sunlight do to the melanin? It breaks it down, it damages a little bit. Okay, increased kinetic energy, same, it breaks it down. But now look at your DNA, no change. So what is our conclusion? Is that the melanin is like a shield, a protection for our DNA. And this is why when you study the map of cancer all around the world, you can see that even though some countries have the same location on the equator and the same amount of sun, the countries where people have a darker skin, like in Africa or Asia or South America, there is a lot less skin cancer rates than countries like Australia, because it's an Irish colony, right? So people have very white skin, or in Ireland, and even in Northern Europe, they have high level of skin cancer. Okay, so melanin helps protect the DNA. Now let's look. We can also make it even more complex mode. We can even try sunscreen. Let's see if really sunscreen is efficient. Is sunscreen really efficient? The truth revealed. Inspect. Still broken. See, sunscreen serves nothing. Yep, the truth revealed. It's just branding, guys. Just branding. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I have to reload, a thick ton of sunscreen all the time. But so yeah, so this is pretty cool. And then you can we did a whole bunch of tests with sulfuric acid, carbon dioxide, to see what was it really in the atmosphere that was changing. So what we concluded, I'm not going to do all the experiment right now, but what we concluded was that carbon dioxide, the presence of carbon dioxide does not, because it absorbs the UV light, okay, so it does not make it more dangerous as far as for our skin. If it was reflected, it would. So it's not more dangerous for our skin. However, because it's absorbed, it increases the kinetic energy in the molecules of carbon dioxide. So it heats up. Okay, so more thermal energy. So it heats up, and this is why global warming, this is why emissions of carbon dioxide, pollution from the power plants, gas, oil burning, all of this is causing global warming. And then you have other stuff like sulfuric acid that does reflect the sunlight that is creating more reverberation, and that is bad for our skin, for example. Okay, so, and this is available for our kids 12 years old, 13 years old, you see? So we have the ability to raise geniuses right now, conscious about the environment, and this is why I'm so dedicated in my job as a teacher right now. And it's a challenge because the kids, they don't realize it. They're like, oh, we don't even need that anyways. Not all of them. Many of them, they're passionate, interested, but some of them, they're like, oh, well, who cares anyways about the lights and stuff? I'm like, you guys don't realize how lucky you are to have those programs and be able to have that information, because even if we learn it in a book, like those Sims, the way I showed it to you, isn't it crazy? Like you instantly understand because you see it, you see the image, you see the effect, and you can try it out with different component right away. That's crazy. And now look, we're doing genetics. So now same, we're doing genetics. So I'm not a specialist in genetics. Never have I been either. But now this is, hello, our little spiders. We're gonna see, for example, let's see the genetic. So let's pick one spider, okay? And I can see the chromosomes. So see, what I found interesting is that you have the chromosomes right here. And so now I'm on the traits of the silk flexibility. Okay, so these are proteins. So pretty much our traits in an individual are determined by the proteins that are created by the genes. Okay, so every gene for everybody or every individual of the same species is located at the same place. This right here, F1, is the location for the gene for silk flexibility. However, it can be a different protein located at the same place, but it can be a different protein. If I take another spider, how do I go back? How do I go back? Let's take this one. See, this protein right here? They're different, located at the same place, but this is what creates variations because they have different proteins, so they have different variations. So for example, this one, you see this one has two how do you call it, coordinators, and this one has none. So they're not going to be able to, this one is not going to be able to attach to anything, so it creates a medium flexibility because this one will attach, this one won't. Okay, so it will create a high flexibility, very flexible. However, one that is low flexibility is going to be more rigid because it has a lot of connectors, so they're going to attach to each other. How do you do that? They're going to attach to each other, and so the silk is going to be more rigid. And so, by the way, they're using spider silk nowadays to be able to do joint reconstructions. For example, you have a knee joints that are damaged and you want to do reconstructions. Now they're doing it with spider silk. Now, see if I change the trait. I'm going to stickiness. It's on another chromosome, located in another place. And the venom, located in another place. The protein looks different. See, I did not know that our genes were determined by proteins that we have in our DNA. And they all look different. The body color, that's what it looks like. C2C2. And so the name of these proteins, then they will depend on what passes on to the offspring. So we have one per parent. So for example, if this spider has a T1, hold on, let me do with the flexibility because I studied it today, so I'm more knowledgeable on this. So this one is a F1, okay, which is going to mean low flexibility. if I want to have, they found that the silk that they need to create joint reconstruction is medium flexibility, not too rigid, not too liquid. So they need a medium flexibility. So you would think if I take 2 spiders that have medium flexibility, I'm going to have that protein that has medium flexibility all the time, which is wrong because the code, the genetic code for medium flexibility is F1, F2. Okay, so if I want to be sure 100% that I'm going to have a medium flexibility as a trait for my offspring, it needs to have a mom, one parent that has F1, F1, because I'm going to take one per parent. Okay, so I want to be sure that one of them is going to be F1 plus another one that has a F2, F2, because I want a F1, F2. Okay, while if I would take this one, F1, F2, and mix it with another F1, F2, I could either have a F1, F1 or F2, F2 or F1, F2. So in the end, I just have 50% chances, or F2, F1, right? So I only have 50% chances to have the exact combination that I want. So if I want the exact F1, F2 or F2, F1 for medium flexibility, I need to have a low, the F1, F1, and the F2 and F2, high flexibility. So I'm going to have one gene from each parent. So it's going to be for sure the one. So let's see, let's match them together. Come on, guys. Oh, 2 males. Hold on. I don't have it. I don't have a F2, F2. Ok, well, bon. Ok, bon, bah alors F1. Ah, yeah, F1, F1, F2, F2. Here you go. Here you go. I have my male and female, F1, F1, F2, and F2. So now let's see. I'm going to create the reproductive cells. So what happens is that boom, 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 it sends out, they divide. Okay, they divide, and then they're going to fertilize, which means they're going to randomly mix together. But because I have only F2, F2s and F1, F1s, I'm sure that all my offsprings, ta-da, they're going to have that medium silk that I want. You see? So that makes so much sense. But you would think, I'm going to take 2 medium flexibility spiders, so I'm sure to have a spider that's like both of the parents, which in the end, no. From 2 different spiders, I'm getting the genes that I want. So that explains also for our diseases and genetics. You can have 2 blonde parents. It doesn't mean you're going to have a blonde child, because if they have a recessive from the mother or the grandparent or something like that, that is still in the code. So I don't know what is the code for the blonde or the code for the brown hair and stuff like that. But if you have one dominant that comes in a mix, then it will take over. Okay? And it's the same for diseases. And so for diseases, it's even more interesting, because some diseases like color blindness, for example, has to have 2 of the same recessive gene together. Okay, which means that if from the 4 of the parents, let's imagine the one, I don't know, I'm making stuff up. Let's imagine, okay, the ear lobe, okay, I think it was capital E for a detached earlobe, and lowercase e for attached earlobe, okay, which is very rare. So if I want to have attached earlobe, it means that the genes is lowercase e and lowercase e, okay? As long as there would be uppercase e, there would be a detached earlobe. So even if the mom has upper E, big E, small e, and the dad has double E, lowercase, and in the mix, it would have to have the small e from the mom and the small e from the dad coming together for us to have the ears like that. But if there is the big E, the capital letter E that comes down, mixes with the other small e, then it will take over. The normal ear will take over. Okay, so this is why some diseases are very rare, because as long as there is one of the dominant gene, it will take over. Okay, so however, for some others, like the venom in spiders, which is a dominant gene, if it's one of it in the mix, then it's gonna take over the other one as well. So very interesting, seriously. But you see, probably me just explaining to you like this, you would be like, that's so confusing, I don't understand. Maybe mostly if you're visual like me, you can tell me anything. It comes from one ear and comes out the other ear. I need to see it, I need to read it, photograph it with my eyes, my visual memory. So having this kind of programs, like, that's incredible. And so then with the offsprings, you can go and study. Okay, let's look at this one. And now I can see what the proteins look like. Okay, and now when I tell you what is a chromosome, you can visualize it. And what is a gene? You know that the gene is a part of a chromosome that is different places. Okay, that is, the size is located right here. The body color is located right here. Okay, but the code can be different, which is what creates variation. That's it. That was your Science 101 for the holidays. I wanted to show you this, even though I've been really busy, because you probably learn more in 30 minutes than you've ever had learned in your whole middle school right now. Because for me, I've learned more with those things than I knew so far, even though I was interested in everything. But yeah. So anyways, stay posted, everybody. Oh, and the one other thing, for the light waves, let's go back to the light waves. For the light waves, so I had heard before that frequency 11, okay, having a low frequency and another frequency that 11 times higher than the other, and isolated an object or something in between of those frequencies, could heal it. That was a healing frequency. So they were talking about it, about the psychology, like the moods and the brain and stuff like that. And I had applied it to my anti-gravity formula, which I believe with the sound wave would be the same thing. If you isolate an object in between two sound waves, this is how you make it levitate. And now they're also talking about healing cancer with it. So by using those light waves, I showed you those who are damaging, those who are beneficial, warm, and stuff like that. Now you just need to find what is the type of light, the type of frequency that that damages cancer cells, right? And target those light waves to be directly absorbed by those cancer cells to destroy them from within, or to heal the tissue where the cancer cells are. So of course this would be another experiment, but that is blowing my mind, because we've been going through such heavy chemios and medicines and all these things that now on new generations, we're gonna go to a center, a light center, and they're gonna give you some rays of light and you're gonna be regenerated. You're like those regeneration chambers, right? You're gonna be healed from the sicknesses. They're gonna be able to rejuvenate your tissues, everything. So now that gives another ethical point of view. Do you think the planet is overpopulated? Because now if we're going to all be rejuvenated and start living with no sickness and for a long time, how do we provide food, electricity, and housing? Do we have enough space for everybody on the planet? Do we have, because now we live longer, we have more children, so within one generation we double the size of the population on the planet, even triple, depending on how many kids you have. So, sometimes you wonder if the pandemics or the wars or these things, the natural selection is also made either by nature or by humans to control the number of population. I don't know. Are we able to provide for so many? So, of course, if you remove the pollution factor and you're able to provide electricity for everybody, with solar energy or even harnessing your own human energy from walking, from your motion, from anything, then we're not gonna be consuming so much energy and polluting so much. Then for the food, if we allow ourselves less working time, less grinding mentalities, and allow us to have more time to garden. Okay, we should have 1 day of gardening per week to grow our garden. That should be compulsory in every community association, for example. You should be compulsory to have a garden, right? Or fruit trees and all this stuff. So and then you have the problems of pesticides. How do you use it? It's a one thing to another, leading to another. So now they're thinking of genetically modified cabbage, that they would insert venom from scorpions to prevent insects from eating it. So it's a lot of things to debate, because when you solve one problem, it brings another and it brings another. So that's why it's going so slow, but it can actually be really fast if we just first learn to communicate and make it easy for every part, that not that giving to one is taking from the others, also to avoid building a gap between the people and generating anger and jealousy and lack, so very interesting, very interesting. So yeah, we're getting there to a better world for sure. To be continued. Have a great weekend, everybody.